Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're going to talk about space news of 13/06/2025. So let's dive deep into it. So basically one ironic event happened that resilience turns out to be was not that resilient. So basically up to our mission second time they tried to launch it. It's from iSpace. Now this was launched on 15 January 2025 on top of Falcon 9 Block 5. Now you're like, wait a minute, January, that's long ago. Well, yes, the idea was because they want to keep the cost low, they want to make sure that the amount of propellant they need is very minimal. To do so, they have to utilize what we call low energy transfer orbit, meaning even with small payload, even with very small kick stage, you can go to almost anywhere as long as you have time for it. Meaning instead of going to moon in 3 days, you have to go slowly increase your orbit raising maneuvers, brick by brick, day by day, month by month, and then you will reach a point where you are intercepting, your apogee will intercept the moon. At that point in time, 5 months would have passed. So they started the landing attempt on 5 June 2025 and 1917 universal time coordinate, and communication was lost. Almost like it was about to land and then communication loss happened, and then we realized it crashed on the moon. Why did it crash on the moon? Well, same as last time. Basically, the guidance computer was not getting reliable data. The best analysis they have is the LiDAR took too long to initialize, and actually it's like, okay, what the hell is happening? So LiDAR was not doing. Now, here's the deal. Why this sort of accidents and all this happening? Because we want to do it for cheap. Let that be very clear. We know how to do these things if you have money. Basically, if you have Cold War like money, it's not an issue. It's just that if you want to do it for cheap, then you're in. Like, now, is that a valid strategy? Yes, in long term, not in short term. In short term, this is like why, but in long term, the idea is that every time they're gonna brick something, they're gonna learn how to fix it. And at the other end, basically, let's say by 2030, we should have multiple companies, multiple nations should have the ability to just yeet thing into moon for a minimal to no cost. That's why we are going through this hassle. Has ever worked? Yes. The sole reason lower Earth orbit is so populated is because somebody tried with what we call CubeSats. And early days, they were just like trial, testing, and all that jazz, basically small stuff. But now they are like literally part of the constellations because they went through that cheap route. And now they are the cutting edge technology. Same is happening here. It's like we know that it was going through this, and we're like, instead of having an ultra high power radar that can just tell, hey, moon, what the hell you're doing, it's just like, it can do things reliably. Is like trying to make it as cheap as possible, trying to use as low power as LiDAR as possible. So all those things does have a penalty. But again, we are reaching a point where it's almost getting it right. Almost. So eventually, hopefully, in few years, we should reach a point where going to the moon should be just as easy, as low cost as low Earth orbit CubeSats, so to say. That's why we are going through this route of like low cost systems. Then we come to Axiom 4 mission. Now, this 4 mission is a very big deal because they're going to have 4 astronauts going into private astronauts into ISS. Now, it's a very big deal for Indians simply because it will have our second astronaut, basically Shubhanshu Shukla. Basically, this gentleman, he will become India's second astronaut. While you may hear things about like Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams, they are not Indian astronauts. They have Indian origin, but they are not Indian astronauts because you look at their badge, it's always USA. Here, this is the only time India actually managed to send astronaut. It was a collaboration with Soviet Union, and Rakesh Sharma in 1984 became the first Indian astronaut to actually be in space. As in like Indian flag. He was flying an Indian flag. When he will go, he will also fly an Indian flag. That's why it's a very big deal. Now, how this is being arranged? Well, ISRO is planning to build what we call Gaganyaan. I mean, it's our space station, so to say. And that requires training. Now, you do not want to double dip your training, meaning you want to test new craft with new pilot. That's not desirable. So they are using this Axiom as a test bed for their pilots, meaning they're going to have these pilots, they're going to be tested and qualified for actual space rated environment, because you can't simulate vacuum of space and like 0G on Earth. So they will be done that. Now, there is a backup crew also, and in that crew also, we also have one pilot. Basically, he will be the pilot, and another one that's also an Indian individual that will be pilot. So even if this group get infected or things of this nature, there should be a second team ready to go without any issue. So this mission was on the launch pad, everybody ready, green, good to go, and that was on 11 June 2025, but it was scrubbed because computer detected oxygen leaks. So they're like, nope, they just scrubbed it. Now, is that abnormal? Not really. It does happen once in a while. So it did happen, nothing bad happened, as in like waste of time and all that, but nothing bad. It's just like, okay, it's a delay, so to say. But that delay became permanent simply because the Russian side, basically this puppy, started to leak. Right now, basically, once they were ready to go next year, the launch window was there, but that launch window is now has been postponed permanently, meaning until further notice from NASA, this puppy is not safe, as in it's leaking, meaning they do not want to jostle it or shock it with a docking attempt, because again, the whole space station floats when you do that, like doing. So they want to make sure that where the heck is leak happening, how they can seal it, would that be stable enough? Now here's the nobody as of now in ISS is in any danger. It's a very mild leak, but again, they do not want to stress the components of ISS because ISS is almost on its last leg. That was like 10 years ago. So yeah, that's caused a delay. So Axiom mission is going to be like a bit delayed, much more delayed than we originally thought. But again, it's not based on the rocket. It's not even based on the crew. It's based on ISS health. So it was another oops mission. Then we come to bigger oops, which was PSLV C61. Now, this was mission for Earth Observation Satellite 09, this puppy. We have awesome names. So this is a big puppy, expensive one. And it's supposed to be launched with PSLV, Plural Satellite Launch Vehicle, C61 at 6 a.m. morning Indian time. And everything went fine. We launched it. First stage, GG. Second stage, GG. Yeah, third stage pooped itself. For some reason, chamber pressure drop happened. And yeah, it was detected in the live stream also. It's like something is off here, and that lead to low thrust, that lead to not enough delta V, and that cause loss of satellite. And it's a very shocking thing for India, simply because we kind of forgotten that we are still dealing with rocket, and PSLV has been stable, like solid stable. How stable? Yeah, this is first failure since 2017. From 8 years we did not had any issue. It's like we good, we forgot about it, that rockets can still go kaput. And again, we do launch it quite a few times a year. So it's a very big shocking thing that rocket is still a rocket. So that was a bit tragic thing. Again, it's a military satellite, we kind of need it right now. So spicy things. And again, investigation has been opened up on that. Most likely the assumption is that solid booster had a nozzle. That nozzle has a mechanism of moving that around. That seal, that moving around seal kind of caused some sort of issue. Again, very early, very guess, but let's see what happens. Then we come to another successful mission, but a very bold mission, that is from Triwind 2. This is from asteroid sample return plus a comet exploration. Basically, it's a double dipping mission. So what they are trying to do is launch it on Long March 3B on 28 May 2025, 1730 Universal Time Coordinate, and this is a 10-year mission. So it's a long space exploration mission, and the idea is they're gonna first launch and then they're gonna go into asteroid. That asteroid is 2016 HO. Don't ask me why, but it's there. 2016 HO3. So 2016, it's gonna go there July 2026, and it's gonna do a sample collect. So it's gonna go and kaput it. It's gonna dip it. And they're also testing a new thing, not just touch and go. They also have anchoring system. Basically, they're gonna want to drill it and all that. Again, that's a very novel approach. Let's see what happens. And once they have collected the sample, they're gonna come back, basically drop to Earth. And once they're doing that, they're gonna dump the content. Basically, they have a small capsule. That capsule will be yeeted into Earth on basically November 2027. Hopefully, if time does not get delayed, because again, they're gonna do orbit and they're gonna analyze it. So there's a little bit of wiggle room. Once they do that, now again, in most scenarios, this will be the end of mission. Chinese people are like, hey, the capsule has returned, but we have such a capable spacecraft. We just yeet it. Basically, the fact they are falling into Earth's gravity, they are using it as a steering protocol. They are just like, fire the booster, steer it outwards, and they are directly going to another comet to study it, but that will be very far away. That puppy will take 2035. Yeah, that's a long mission. So, and then they're going to do final orbiting around there, and hopefully they will go across the comet tail multiple times to give a conclusive evidence of what the hell is going on. So this is the whole point. It's a double mission. It's like they are stacking two missions. First, you do touch and go, and if things go well, you test your new system of anchoring. If that does not work, you still have something, and if it does work, GG, you dump the material. So China will have the luxury of having asteroid material, and then they're gonna why dump the basically amazing craft. They're just like, go do some more studies. So this is Tianwen 2. Now we come to some spicy topic, which is supply chain. Currently the most spicy topic. So USA wanted to build something concrete for their next generation of basically war boom booms. So the idea is they no longer want to rely on the old architecture of like, the big military satellite, like big GG. It's like, yeah, that's very vulnerable and not to mention ludicrously expensive and outdated. Basically, it takes years to make. By the time they actually launch it or actually deploy, it's already outdated. So the idea is throw all that away, come to low Earth orbit and have very quick, cheap and dirty satellites, meaning you just launch it in 1 to 3 years in new technology, boom, launch it, go. And they are using numbers to cover. They are not planning for 10 satellites, 20 satellites or 50 satellites. They're planning for thousands, like almost same size as Starlink. So that's why it's a mega constellation. That's the category of it. And the name is Proliferated Warfighter Space Architecture. Now, again, USA wants to do something completely cocaine based. The idea is they're going to launch a rocket and does not matter where it's going. They just launch it. Basically, naval rockets are the most powerful one they have right now that can go from surface to wherever you want it to go. But problem is like the radar is limited. So they're like, hey, just launch it, man. We're going to have fighter jet, but fighter jet can't carry it. So they're like, okay, let's just launch it. And mid-air, we're going to have it like, yo, 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 go here. So the fighter jets can go do their boom, and if they run out of ammunition, they will call up Navy. It's like, bro, can you just launch it? It's like, where are you firing it to? No, no, just fire it in this direction. And the satellite and rocket is like, I got you, I got you. What were you smoking? But again, that's because again, the bigger rockets you are, the faster they travel. They can travel upwards of 4. That's the slowest that I have known. It's like the Mach 4 is the slowest, the big ones. And some bigger ones can easily go into full ballistic missile. At that point in time, you are talking about Mach 25 upwards of. So, and again, ballistic missiles are that kind of speed, so it's normal. But again, you do need a very thorough, robust interconnector network. So that network is this. Now, in this network, again, they are in early stages, 500 supposed to be deployed in that ballpark for phase 1. And yeah, that did not happen. So Government Accountability Office looked into it, is what the hell is going on. And then they realized that there is no company that is manufacturing fast enough as the consumption, meaning the contract supposed to be for optical communication terminals, meaning satellite to satellite intercoms will be done via lasers. And why they need that? Well, because they want to make sure any hypersonic is like, bro. And again, you do need to collaborate data from multiple satellites. And if you have overlapping viewports, then you're like, bruh. In all weathers, you're like, bruh. That's what you want to do. And again, the idea is you will detect it and you launch from somewhere else. It's like, who is the nearest, biggest boom stick we can send? It's just like, launch, man. We're going to figure out the firing solution after you have launched it. I'm like, okay. So optical communication terminal would be required between satellite to satellites, and some designs are satellite to drones. I'm like, that's scary if they manage to do that. But let's just see. But again, the idea was the first batch of contract was 500 pieces. Yeah, they only got 20. Basically, pandemic exposed way too important thing that should have been obvious long ago. And again, be mindful, this has also happened with Air Force, where they're like, yeah, older jets, they can't be serviced anymore because the electronics have run out. And all the chips are cheap Chinese clones chips because nobody manufactures them. So same thing happened here. It's like, yeah, this is a brand new thing. And they got it and it's like, yeah, we want 500. It's like companies are like, we are doing our best. So that's a big issue. So timeline has shifted from late 2024, where it should have been done, to like, yeah, hoping for spring 2025, which is maybe, realistically no. So what is being done? Well, the idea is go YOLO with money, US Army way. Just dump as much money as you need to ramp up the suppliers. Although this is a very good thing, because once you have the good supply structure in-house, then other things can also be done. Because again, if a military contractor can also sell the technology to, not that exact technology, that would be classified, but like that same tech, basically optical transceivers, that are very high demand item in server industry. So they can be like, hey, we got this. We don't always have to contact China. So this was a very unique thing. It's like, yeah, we have this mega constellation. Yeah, we can't actually build it. It's like, but we built it, we tested it. It's like, yeah, yeah, cool. We are the only country that can actually maintain it because they do have SpaceX. No other country has that sort of oomph where they can just dump hundreds of satellites in low Earth orbit. SpaceX is like, bruh, that's like Wednesday for me. So they can do that. Ironically, they have the hardest part sorted. It's just they don't have the supply chain sorted. So this was a very unique look from Government Accountability Office. So this was my presentation on space news. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show my disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.